Good evening and salutations, my YNR fans. I'm gonna be honest, I actually really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed the flashbacks. I watching the flashbacks was like, damn, this show was really popping back then. And I'm gonna be honest, I am loving old school Jack. I know that I am clearly late to the party, but old school Jack, that's the dude that I mess with. I get it, he got older and things of that nature, but old school Jack was he was a dick, and I actually really enjoy watching all the scenes with him. Um, Especially him calling Victor Mustache. Um, so from what I gathered, Diane faked her death to get away from um I don't know, all the negativity and all the people that wanted her dead. I'm still am not fully understanding the story about why she decided to fake her own death. I mean, I know that she had a lot of enemies in town and a lot of people didn't like her for various reasons. But she was just like, yeah, well, a lot of people didn't like me and everyone was coming for me. I don't know what she did that caused her to fake her death because I feel like it's more than just that. I mean, for the old school people that watched it, I think that's really great. But for somebody who probably just came in, like, let's say, I don't know, about a month and a half ago, we're kind of just like, so let me get this straight. You faked your death. You hurt your sons on an emotional level, and you did that because a bunch of people didn't like you, and you felt like you had to get away from the pressures of people not liking you. Please tell me there's more than just. Please tell me there's more to that than just what you said. I'm assuming there's more to that than just what she said because I find that very hard to believe that, she would do that to her son. Now, yeah, I understand that she said she was going to get her son, but then Jack was going to make sure that he was going to find her. So she didn't want to sit there and constantly be on the run. So she was like, all right, you can stay with your father. But, like, really? Really? Jack ain't having it. Okay? Present day Jack isn't having it. Old school Jack was not dealing with her shenanigans. So new school Jack ain't having it. Okay, all this going down memory lane and talking about some of the good stuff, and there was some good memories or whatever. Um, Damn, Phyllis was on there for a hot minute. Michelle was on there for a hot minute. Damn. Um, I'm really appreciating her character on this show. It's so weird. It's so weird when you watch all four of the shows. As opposed to you just watching one show and it's like, oh man, I really miss her. And so for a while, I missed her as Nina, and part of me still does miss her as Nina, but I'm also glad that she's back as Phyllis. I don't know who the person was there before, but I'm pretty sure the fans that like Phyllis is kind of glad that she's back. Um, I didn't even know that the woman that plays Ava was on Days. I mean, was on YNR. Anyway, he's not happy. He's not having it, and after going through memory lane of himself, while talking to her and stuff like that, he's like, yeah, you know what? Listen, this is cool. Now, of course, Diane wants a chance to, be with her son, and she wants Jack's help, and Jack is like, you're joking, right? You just told me all that horrible story and what you did, and you want to be back in our son's life? Are you serious? I would sit there and think with age comes a bit of wisdom, but clearly you are just on yeah. So Abrams is like, yeah, that's not happening. He walks out and he calls Allie, which is kind of surprising. He calls Allie, and I'm sitting there thinking, wouldn't you not want to actually drag her into whatever emotional tailspin that you got going on with your dead fiance or girlfriend or whatever the hell she was at some point in time? But no, he does. Now, of course, Phyllis is worried. Phyllis tried to, Phyllis called him. So Jack calls her back, and now you just made her worry even more. Because Phyllis is like, I can hear in your voice, like you're not good. What's going on? And he's like, yeah, listen, Allie's here. I'll talk to you later. So I was like, bro, she was already worried before, and now she's even more worried. Um, and I really feel like I missed out on some golden age moments. Kind of makes me mad, but then I also sit there and I look at GH, and I'm like, yeah, some of those times are really crazy, and now it's good, but it's I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to sit there and be a Debbie Downer, so let's just kind of move it on along. So one of the good things that does wind up happening is that he meets up with Allie. They start sharing stories and stuff like that. They really get to know each other and start to, form some sort of a bond. And I do remember reading the comment saying that, this is something that's going to take some time, but they're going to kind of, you know, bridge the gap and, become closer. And it did happen, and I'm glad it did happen. But I'm gonna be honest, maybe I just don't really have the patience sometimes to go through the so-called growing pains. Because I'm not gonna lie, Allie annoyed the living hell out of me when she first started, and I still feel that way. I'm glad that they're on the up and up, but whew, it's kind of a bumpy ride there. So Diane is not there crying and stuff like that, and I saw in the previews Phyllis was obviously so worried that she came down there to LA and confronted Diane. I don't know what's going on as far as somebody switching samples, um sperm samples or whatever, and somehow she wound up getting pregnant with Jack's son instead of Nikki. And of course, at the time, Phyllis was blaming Nikki for all this stuff that was going on, and just one giant mess. But it was the type of mess that you expect from the '90s. The type of story you can really sit there and get into. Um, I mean, besides certain things that may not have actually been allowed on daytime television, it was, apparently okay to actually bring back, twins. Like if you killed off a character and then you realize that a bunch of people liked them and you kind of had to bring them back, but you really can be creative as far as bringing them back. You bring them back as a twin. Now we look at that and it just comes across as lazy. Um. Anyway, so after Phyllis, leaves a message, she talks to Lauren, and Lauren, I'm gonna be honest, he still annoys me. Was whining about, Michael and his safety and working with Victor and the fact that, Michael isn't a grown ass man that can't make his own choices. So she whines about that. Then they start talking about Jack and how how Phyllis is worried about Jack and all this stuff that's going on with his past, family and stuff like that, and the stuff that's going on with LA. I mean, she doesn't really get too much into detail. She does sit there and divulge some stuff where she's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have told you." It's like, well, why don't you just tell her the whole story then? I mean, I get that she says it's not her story to tell, but apparently Lauren and Jack are friends, so it's not like you're, crossing boundaries by, letting her in on the whole story. Um, Now, it should be really interesting when Diane gets back to General City, because yeah, she got a lot of people that just do not like her. Um, Now, I'm wondering, are they actually going to sit there and bring in Kyle? I don't. So many people have been coming and going in the show that, I mean, if they don't bring back the original Kyle, they're probably going to bring back a stand-in, or, well, not a stand-in, but recast. It's like, why can I not just sit there and think of the word? And they're probably going to sit there and have him in there. Now, again, one of the things I really did like in this episode was that they didn't have a bunch of characters that they normally do. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it's interesting, but they really did just focus on Jack and his story as far as with Diane, Memory Lane, and everything like that. Even when Phyllis was sitting there talking to Lauren, she was sitting there thinking about some times that she had with Jack and how she felt about Diane at the time, and they had this whole rocky relationship. I mean, there was one point where Jack was going to marry Diane, but then Jack was with Phyllis, and then Diane kind of messed that up a little bit. So it was just this whole messy road of love and drama and switching sperm samples and all sorts of other methods. So she was not to think about that too. So that was one of the things I really did enjoy, is that they kept it they kept it very self-contained, and I can appreciate that. I think the only other time that they did that I can remember, they didn't show the actual. I think it was a couple weeks ago. They didn't show the actual episode um, in the daytime because they had a news interruption about something. So what they wound up doing was they wound up going through Jack's family history. I think Tracy was writing a book or a memoir or something like that about the Abbotts, and they went to this whole um, memory lane of Jack and his father and everything like that. And at the time, I was like, ugh, I don't want to sit there and try to review that. That seems so. Like at the time, it seemed like it was kind of unimportant. But in reality, it was probably more important to me than anyone else. Because most of the people that watch this channel, as far as these reviews, well, they've been they know way more. Y'all know way more than I do. Um, and I would love to sit there and say I would probably try to find an episode to watch it, but whew, I don't have the time. Um, but I feel like I really want to watch it though. Old School Jack was. I'm really loving Old School Jack. That's all I'm gonna sit there and say about that. Not gonna lie, I kind of feel like that's about it. I guess because it was such a short episode, and the fact that it was they're only dealing with two stories. It was Phyllis and Lauren, and then Jack and Allie and Diane on the other end. So it just felt kind of short as far as doing this review. But again, I actually really enjoyed it, and it also kind of sucked because, like I said, back then that show seemed like it was definitely popping. Um, Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts on the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great weekend, great safe weekend, and yeah, see you in the next video.